After all is said and done, you never walk, you always run, you're a winner. Oh, hey, yeah, what's going on? Dare to believe you can survive. Dare to be deconverted man. Well, I'm deconverted man, and you are whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you are, and whatever you might be doing. Last time I did a video, and I read this thing and I said it was wrong and not convincing at all, even a little. And it was the apologetic advertisement for Christianity by Nathaniel Ashcroft. And, week one was all about how, well, there's no meaning because, life is limited. So there's an objective meaning if it's eternal, which he never really gave a decent answer to for my question of what makes it objectively intrinsic to have this immortal coil. What about that makes it objective? What makes it matter more? I didn't get a satisfactory answer, and that's all right. It's fine. So we're gonna look at week 2, which is this is, what was this labeled though? Creation. Okay. And so I'm going to read it and complain about it, but I really am going to only read the parts that he wrote. So he says, John Burroughs writes his essay, Divine Soil, stuff that I don't care about because you didn't write it. So whatever, skipping all that. The idea that existence can come from non-existence naturally is false. Okay, well, that's fine. Nobody says that. And I have a video, do atheists think the universe came from nothing? The answer is no. It doesn't appear that anyone thinks this at all. So, but how do we know that it's false? How if we're honest, we don't know. We think that this is the case. It seems that nothing is an abstract idea that we came up with that isn't really a thing. There is no such thing as nothing. There never has been. It's so not a thing that it never was. We think, but maybe we're wrong. Maybe nothing was a thing, and maybe stuff came from it. We don't know. Anyways, the way our universe came into being, according to science, citation. Now, where's your citations here? Because you're great at quoting other people. So where's all your science here? That's what I'm wondering. Is that a dense volatile singularity, why'd you put it in quotes, containing the entirety of the master universe exploded in a cosmic boom. Big Bang. Wrong. It's not a cosmic boom. That's not how any science presents that. If you just Googled Big Bang Theory, you could go to NASA. The universe began as a single point, and the tiny particles formed atoms, and then after time they formed stars and then galaxies, and then you get stuff after that. And it's more like a everywhere stretch, they say. It's not a bang. There is no bang. There is no explosion. If you looked up any of this at all, even a little bit, you would know what it was. So just you shouldn't say stuff that's not true. So shame on you for not looking that up. Which said our universe exploding? No. Outwards into motion. Wrong. Again, this is not what science says. So all of this is false. Here's the catch. We have no clue how this singularity got there, and we don't know how it was set off. Well, we don't know how the singularity got there. Sure, that's fine. That's true. It's always been, I guess. That's one possibility. But as far as it being set off, well, that's incorrect because that's not what Big Bang cosmology talks about. So, again, you're really good at citing stuff except for now. Now you've become lazy and decided not to cite any actual science. So, everything that you said was science is incorrect, and it just takes a simple Google search to find out that you're wrong. Let's see. Big. Let's see. Where else can I get this from? How about space.com? Let's see. Cosmic microwave background. Let's see. 13.7 billion years ago. They do say explosive expansion began, but they don't mean explosion in that way. They shouldn't use that word, though. The cosmic inflation lasted very quickly, but that took over. So I mean, but still, if you looked it up, you would not say it in the way that you did. Singularity is created whenever Singularity is created when massive entity becomes so large force of gravity overcomes the natural force entity and infinitely compresses that mass into an infinitely small area. Yeah, but that's not the same singularity. Okay, there's a difference here. So let's see. Big Bang singularity and black hole singularity are both points where general relativity break down, but they differ fundamentally. The Big Bang singularity was the entire universe expanding from a past point and a white hole in time, while a black hole singularity is a point within our universe where space-time ends for infalling matter. So these are different singularities. If you had looked up the science, you would know this. So you're wrong again. Would be equivocation, by the way, as a logical fallacy, because you're using the word singularity different ways. Anyways, so in other words, matter gets crushed and compressed very small. Singularities are contained within black holes, right? And that's a different type of singularity. You obviously didn't look it up. How is such a thing naturally set off? In a black hole, it's gravity. In Big Bang singularity, don't know. It's different type of singularity. What could push against a force powerful collapses unimaginable amounts of matter into the point of a pencil? That's not what the Big Bang singularity is. So you didn't look up the science for this. You're asking a question that is incoherent. It's like, what is 1 times cow? It's just you haven't done any research at all. To not just overcome such force, but to send the mass within careening outwards. We don't know. We don't know what / how that happened. There's some ideas, but clearly you don't know anything that you're talking about. That is crystal clear. So we don't know, but you definitely don't know. Nothing could, he says. Well, wait a minute. Does that mean that nothing can do it? Or do you mean that nothing can, in fact, do it? See, there's different ways to read that sentence. It's just messing around. Black hole contains a singularity as well. There you go, repeating yourself again. You got to stop this. You already said this. You just said this. But the mass contained within that indefinitely condensing point is far less likely than our whole universe. How do you know that? According to what mathematical formula? How did you figure this out? What math did you use? What's your equation to figure that out? Nothing. Which was the Big Bang singularity. Yet somehow it exploded. It didn't explode. You're wrong. So that's same thing. You're still wrong. Think about the extreme chaos result in this explosion of mass. What mass? The Big Bang doesn't have mass. What are you talking about? And then think about the incredible order of our universe. I see an intelligent creation. Well, given that you didn't actually look up any of the science here and you're just talking nonsense, the fact that you see something that isn't there doesn't surprise me. because your whole thing is incorrect. Everything that you said was incorrect. Incorrect here, equivocation plus incorrect here, incorrect here. So what you see is not relevant. You need to argue for this point. That is what you are supposed to be doing here. Secular scientists assert that we got secular scientists, really? Which ones? Can we get a list of them? How do you know who's secular? I'd like to know that. Do we have a list? Any citations? You were really good about citations last time. Where did they go? Assert that we got into the existence of the singularity from non-existence. Do they assert this? Because I don't think they do. I don't think that they say this. I think you're just saying that they say this. Let's look at Google. Secular scientists don't assert the universe came from nothing in a philosophical sense. Oh, the exact opposite of what you just said. Okay. But this is scientifically impossible. We don't know that either. The most probable answer, considering design portrayed in our Earth, you're assuming design there, so you're assuming your conclusion, this is circular, was it's an act of God. That you need to prove that. Or the supernatural, you would need to prove that. Or act of some sort of designer, you need to prove that. There is never recorded time of existence coming from non-existence happening ever. You don't know that. Well, okay. Recorded, sure, but you're talking about recorded time versus non-recorded time. The universe has been around for 13 billion years. There wasn't anyone to record a lot of that. So it's just, and you're arguing against a straw man anyways. Because nobody really thinks it came from non-existence. Okay, that's not a position anyone actually holds. Think about it. Could you even conceive of being matter coming from any sort of non-being, absence of matter naturally? Yes, I guess is the answer to that question. If you were asking that question legitimately, which I know you're not, but yes, I can conceive of that. There's nothing illogical about that. And you might, oh, but that doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. There is no logical formation I can construct that would negate this idea. Okay. And it's all about what nothing means. The word nothing. So what does it mean? And it really depends on your framing. So if you mean by nothing absence of everything, does that also include logic? If yes, then all bets are off and paradox is allowed. If no, then it's not nothing anymore. If there's at least one rule, and that rule, I guess, would have to be no paradox allowed, then you don't have nothing. You have a rule. You have a law that governs reality. Now, that law is just there. There's no reason for it. It's not put there by anything. It just exists. It just is. But it's not nothing. So, yes, if you had a true nothing, there would be nothing to prevent something from coming from nothing. And that's completely within the realm of logic. However, that's not what anyone claims, because I don't claim that. Nobody else does. So, whatever. If the universe has a beginning, it does, he says. No, we don't know that it does. That's you're getting this wrong again. Cosmological ideas of the universe don't really. I know that some things simplify it. Say time space begin at the singularity, or goes. No, we don't know. Okay, that's not a thing. And had you researched any of this, you would know that answer. But you weren't interested in doing research this time for some reason. Wonder why. Anyways, that beginning has to be supernatural. That's an assertion without any argument at all. You haven't even demonstrated that the supernatural is a thing. The law of conservation of mass states that matter is neither created nor destroyed. Right. So that it's the matter could have always been there. It's actually energy is not matter. So you got this wrong. Well, Law of conservation of mass. Is that what? Uh, can't be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. It only changes form. But what you wanted was energy, I think, because energy uh, also can't be created or destroyed. It only transforms from one form to another. So I think that you're confused on which law you wanted to talk about. Why would we expect the only natural violation to that rule to be found at the beginning of the universe? Well, this is a very good question. I don't know, but why not? Either you have the rules that always apply or you don't, maybe. And it's very possible that as the universe goes backward, as we get closer to the T1 point of the universe, where time as we know it is a thing, that rules as we understand them, laws of nature, etc., break down and aren't the way that we think that they should be. And yeah, that just might be the way it is. But if you want to be consistent with things, cool, great. So I guess your God also is consistent with the laws of nature. Oh wait, no, it isn't. Oh, okay. But you want it to be consistent sometimes. What are the chances that only matter that pops into existence happens to be our entire universe? 100% because it's happened. Along with universe constraints, fine tuning, and play. You don't know what fine tuning is because I know that because you haven't looked up anything else, so you definitely don't know what this is. Packed into a small dense region that would go accidentally create an orderly universe that's fine tuned for life. Yeah, you just proved you don't know what fine tuning is because you think that this is the case. It's not fine tuned for life at all. It's life is fine tuned for the universe, not the other way around. The only other proposed natural violation of law of conservation of mass, the beginning of life itself. This is nonsense. You was just written nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about at all. This is what happens when you do not look up what you are saying. Let's see. Conservation of mass doesn't apply to early universe. Modern physics replaces conservation of energy momentum, which holds a system where time. Wow. Okay, it gets really complicated. Okay. If if the rule doesn't apply, then there isn't a violation. This could be a category mistake. Matter popping to existence is a mischaracterization. What are the chances? Assumes a problem exist. Order and complexity do not require intent. Yeah. So everything he has said here. By the way, I threw that at ChatGPT just for fun. So everything he said is completely wrong and off kilter, which I already knew. But just to double make sure that I was correct, I threw it at. Although, well, ChatGPT can be wrong, but yeah. I don't think these conclusions from secular scientists come about from an unbiased look at the data. Well, I don't think that your conclusion comes from an unbiased look. In fact, you haven't even looked at the data. But what secular scientists? Which ones? Who are you talking about? Do you have a list? No, you don't. You didn't even look up what the Big Bang was. You didn't look up what fine tuning was. You have 0 citations. Let me just make sure. Because last time you gave citations, so you're going to give a citation. Wow, this is longer than the last time. Oh, you have some syllogism here I can eat. Ooh. Let's see. Wow, he keeps going. This one's long. Let's see. Burroughs John, Copper Bruce, and see, yeah, okay. And then so all of the science that he thinks he's quoting is coming from a Christian. So probably why he's getting that wrong. And then, so yeah, he hasn't gotten to Neil Tyson. And then J. Warner Wallace. Oh God, why are you looking at this guy? He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's not a scientist. So where's all the, oh, and then you have intelligent design. Oh God. Well, okay. I mean, I honestly, I don't know if I should keep reading at this point. This guy just is lost and confused. But in for a penny, in for a pound, whatever. So he has not cited any actual scientists. He has not told us who these secular scientists are. All he is doing here is not actually looking up information about cosmology, not quoting from anybody, not producing any real science, and then making wild, hasty conclusions based on the half asked ideas that he has produced himself without any actual references to anybody. So his attempt at a poison of the well for secular scientists by saying that they are biased at the data, that's a you problem. That's you. You are biased towards the data. You want the data to say that it's what you think. But you don't have these so-called secular scientists. You don't have any proof that they are, in fact, biased. So you do not know that this follows then, but from the want to cling to scientific naturalism. Scientific naturalism, what are you talking about? Science is, of course, science is natural because that's what we know about for sure. There's no scientific natural. What the hell are you talking about? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This is a book supposed to be advertising for Christianity. It is the worst advertisement of all time. I do not want. This is nothing. What? Just, are you kidding? Like, you didn't do any research at all. This is just bad. Anyways, all right. How do you know that they want to cling to it? By the way, science is you can't do science without the natural realm. So there is no scientific naturalism. You're talking about a philosophy that they may or may not hold, and you're assuming that they're clinging to it. No, you have to well, you have to test things in science. So it's just awful. Even the singularity wasn't really the start of all material being. It still had to be formed naturally some way from a materialistic standpoint. I don't know why you're talking about materialists now. So now you've gone into a red herring. But yeah, I guess. Unless the singularity always has been, which is perfectly consistent with the laws of nature as we understand them. Energy has always been and never can not be. So in that case, the singularity always was and was never formed. Because you didn't look it up, you don't know what you're talking about. That's why you're making so many errors here. Why would we expect something that continually exhibits design to be random and to occur without any intervention of an intelligent mind? What? It doesn't exhibit design. What are you talking about? Where in the universe do you see design? I don't know what you're talking about. Random. Some of it's random or disorderly or whatever you want to call it, I suppose. Intelligent mind. You haven't even demonstrated an intelligent mind. What do you this is a malformed question. What we observe in the world, design only comes from intelligence. No, well, does it? How do you tell design from non-design though? See, that's the problem here. Jeez. You're pre-assuming design without demonstrating it. So you're not going anywhere here. All in all, it's impossible to explain the start of the universe. Well, no, we don't know that. We just don't know the We don't even know that there is a start. Maybe it's always been. The singularity has always been. That could very well be the thing. I don't know. You don't know. You didn't look it up. You didn't look any of this up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And the start of life. Well, we know that a little bit more in a natural material way. Yes, we do. It is possible to explain those things, and they have been explained to some extent. You didn't look up abiogenesis either. I don't know why you're bringing that in. That's a red herring too. I don't point design because I already believe in God. Yes, you do. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. The design and beginning of our universe and life continues to point me to God. Well, you're assuming design by saying design, and then you're saying beginning of the universe when that's not anything that science has agreed upon is even a thing. So, where are you getting the idea of design from? How do you know it's what makes it what in what way is where's this it is circular reasoning. You do see that because of your belief and not because of your observations. Your observations are completely because of your belief. So you are the one that is doing a bias look, not scientists. There's a reason pretty much every single civilization up to this point in history has believed in the supernatural. This is appeal to historicity. That's appeal to tradition. There are reasons, actual real reasons why people have believed in the supernatural because they didn't know any better. They did not know how to explain the world around them. That's one damn good reason. People used to think that lightning was God and that St. Elmo's fire and the northern lights were God and that diseases were caused by evil spirits. And now we have germ theory. We know about viruses. So we know how lightning works. We know how St. Elmo's fire works. We know how the northern lights work. And every time we have thought that it was supernatural, we have found that there's a natural explanation for it. So every time in the past that people thought it was supernatural, they turned out to be wrong. So your appeal to the past holds no bearing over what's true or not true. People used to and still believe in all sorts of nonsense today. That doesn't make it true. Intervention points. Okay. After thousands of years of theistic civilizations, our scientific knowledge is in the place which we would expect to be able to refute all the civilizations about theism. Well, we have. We have. We don't believe in Zeus anymore. What are you talking about? You don't believe in the Hindu gods, do you? You don't believe in any god except for the one god that you happen to believe in. Okay? You don't believe in the Egyptian gods that predate, or Zoroastrian, which predates yours. You don't believe in the various pagan deities that existed before that, or the nameless religions that existed before that, and the thousands upon thousands of different god concepts that existed before that. And those lost to time that we can't know about because they've been lost to time. Of course, you don't believe in those. You don't have to disprove those. You have to prove those. So you're looking at this bass backwards. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Instead, all we are finding support we would expect if there's a creator God. What findings? Where? What are you talking about? You haven't presented any findings that support that. In fact, you haven't said anything that supports your version of your God yet, in any coherent manner. Everything you've said so far in the last time was an appeal to emotion. This time has been an appeal to absolute bupkis because you can't even cite actual science. You haven't said what actual science says. You haven't cited what science actually says. You haven't referenced any actual scientific peer-reviewed papers. You don't know what you are writing about. So nothing you have written can possibly lead to the conclusion that you want. We've only been able to explain aspects of how our universe works and the inner workings of its mechanisms. Sure, that's true. It's about the only thing you've said that's been correct. So, well, maybe one other thing, I think. We still have no natural answer for points to deal with its origin. Okay, and? So what? Or for phenomena which the best explanation rests in God. No, the best explanation doesn't rest in God that has not been shown to be a thing yet. You don't have a explanation yet because you need to demonstrate that. But basically, this is God of the gaps. This is God of the gaps right now. That's it. They include the beginning of the universe. Well, we don't think that there might not have been a beginning of the universe. The beginning of life, well, that's explained by abiogenesis, so that's been solved. Fine tuning of the universe isn't a thing. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You haven't looked it up. Yeah, you don't know what this is. You don't have any idea. Apparent design in nature. What are you talking about? Like what? Objective moral law? What objective moral law? Where? Examples? Citations? Consciousness. We've explained consciousness. The perception of beauty. What about it? That's the thing that we perceive. So what? What about perception of ugly? So we haven't explained X, Y, and Z, therefore God. So this is God of the gaps. Got it. I'm sure those are a few others, but those are the major ones. Okay, well, you're wrong about most of those. But we haven't explained the perception of beauty. We've basically explained where consciousness comes from, the brain, what it is, or, well, it's the emergent property of the brain, but how that works is a little bit more complicated. But yeah, we know a lot about it. Perception of beauty, we understand. And also perception of ugly. But yeah, this is not even a thing. The apparent design in nature isn't a thing. That's you thinking that there's design in the first place. So there's nothing to explain there. This is a psychological phenomenon. So that's explained. There is the fine tuning universe isn't really what you think it is. So it's nothing to explain there. Abiogenesis explains that. And we don't know if there is or isn't a beginning of the universe. So all of this is stuff that we either already do know or we're working on or we know a lot about, but not everything. And then you just insert God. This is terrible. Terrible. I'm going to refer to the category of points I've mentioned and explain as intervention points. You mean God of the gaps? That would be the proper phrase. As their contentions, location of which would need to be proven to have a material and natural explanation. To show, no. You're switching the burden of proof now. You're switching the burden of proof. Yeah, well, why wouldn't they have a natural or materialistic explanation? Everything else has. Why would now be the exception? I thought you didn't want an exception to the rule. Everything else has turned out to have a natural or material explanation. Why would it suddenly be that the universe doesn't have one? It's so inconsistent here. You want it to be consistent until you don't. To show our universe is not the result of intelligent, omnipotent being, you have to demonstrate that. It's not us to show you, it's you to show us. So this reversal, this is complete, utter switching burden of proof. Conscious, let's see, of course, beauty, moral law, and consciousness do not deal with the origin of your universal life. Right, they're total, complete red herrings. So you shouldn't have brought them up. But we would expect them in an instance of Creator God. Why? That assumes you're assuming that. You're assuming that. You don't know that. Depends which God you think is a thing. This is the problem. This has been the problem. You have not demonstrated that God is the thing that you say it is. You're just asserting that it is. Oh, jeez. These are phenomena make most sense in the case of divine designer. No, they don't. They don't make sense. You can't see. You don't. What? The innovation points all lack a natural explanation. No, they don't. We just don't know it yet. That's different. And even if that was the case, we just couldn't know. That's still you're inserting God. You're doing God of the gaps again. They occur all the places we expect them if God created the universe. No, no, wrong. That conclusion is a non sequitur. Doesn't follow. You haven't proven any of this. This is just slop. I think I'm going to stop reading this. I really am. I mean, oh, and then you get to Psalm. I think I'll stop there at this line here, so I know where to continue if I want to do part 3 or whatever. Pretend that all scientific knowledge we have about the universe is wiped away. Okay. And as civilizations were just beginning to research science, so it'll come back. Just take us a while. Let's say those who were taking this test were doing it with the intent to disprove theism. Well, why would they do that? For them to accomplish that objective, they would need to search for natural explanations for the universal morality acknowledged by humans. What acknowledgement for universal morality is there? Is there acknowledgement of that? Because I don't think there is. I think you're just making that up. I don't think humans agree upon morality. For how this world actually came to be, well, we know that. We know how the earth came to be, this gravity. For how life came to be, we know that, abiogenesis. And for the order present in creation, what order? You're just saying stuff without any proof. For what we seem to have a soul, what? Now they'd have to prove a soul. So there's nothing here to explain, since there isn't anything there. As seen through consciousness. Consciousness is not the soul. I mean, isn't it? I'm like, what? Huh? What the bleep are you talking about? And for what our world seems to be intended to be beautiful or ugly, depends how you look at it, and more. Okay, so you don't know, you don't understand stuff. Therefore, God got it. The verdict of the origin of life would either throw shade on the possibility of the existence of God, or would support the existence of God. No, it wouldn't, because you're saying that they're doing something that science wouldn't do, which is trying to disprove theism, which science couldn't care less. Science just studies what is. We just would study what is. But you definitely haven't tried to disprove your own beliefs. That's for sure. And you haven't looked up actual real science. That's also for sure. I include this to show the reader scientific discovery in general does not disprove God. Wow. I mean, you're stupid. Completely and utterly just moronic at this point. Science cannot prove or disprove God. So what? That's a problem for you, not for me. You're the one making the claim that there is a God. Disproving stuff isn't a thing in that sense when it comes to God in science. Science doesn't care about God, doesn't need it. Understandable universe is implied within the Bible, whatever, and points to design. You said that already. You're just repeating yourself. It's also clear to see God at work by our observations of this earth. Well, according to you, but that's it. Wow, I'm done. Oh, this is just bad. This is worse than the first one. At least the first one I could understand. Like, yeah, you're trying to make an emotional appeal, I could see the desire there. This is like creation nonsense. This is intelligent design nonsense 101. This is sloppy. This is non-research that this person has done. That they haven't done research. That's the problem. They haven't looked at any of this stuff. I think that this is copy and pasted from some sort of creationist something. I don't know what, but I don't know if they directly copied it, but I think they certainly borrowed a lot of this. And you can see that in their citations, J. Warner Wallace, idiots like that. Yeah, okay. And then intelligent design nitwits. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. When your sources are suck, you're gonna have suck as a result. So this is an advertisement to stay away from his version of Christianity. That's my conclusion. I think I'm done, though. There's no reason to keep reading this. It's just slop and nonsense at this point. He said, science would be in part 2. He was wrong. There's no science here. There's anti-science here. There's pseudoscience. There's no actual science though. So I don't know what he's talking about. I hope he researches some of this and rewrites this because it's slop. All right. Until next time, be skeptical, and after next time, stay skeptical.